Yes, Steeler Nation, we are back for another great show on the one and only The Sick Podcast, Steeler Crazy. I am Jay York Football, as always, alongside of me, Mic'd Up Sports One. And still no big quarterback news, but hey, we're going to talk someone who's very involved in the scheme of getting up to the NFL. How are you, first and foremost?
I'm good. I'm with you at this point. I think I've just flatlined when it comes to being emotional about the Steelers quarterback situation.
Yeah.
At this point, I think, we're kind of all waiting on the Aaron Rodgers ball to drop, but it could be tomorrow or it could be like Christmas at this point. So there's no need to overthink it or even talk about it anymore. I think we're all sick of it at this point as I'm continuing to talk about it, right? So a little irony in that, but it's time to move on, baby. It's about a month till the NFL draft, and this is
Yes,
what we should be focusing on right now.
I agree. Sammy, Juliana.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Steelers Crazy.
Harris Smith shields. Flacco Polamalu takes it home. Super Bowl 43. Pittsburgh might be bound for that thanks to number 43.
The sickest Pittsburgh Steelers podcast.
Sports entertainment like no other. It's gonna be sick.
Speaking of the NFL draft, you mentioned it off the top, man. This individual has been in the game for a very long time, certainly impactful when it comes to the NFL draft. He is the director of football ops and player personnel for the East-West Shrine Bowl. It is our guy, Eric Galko. Eric, how are you, man?
I'm doing great, guys. We're 30 days away around that time for the NFL draft, and it's a big one for the Pittsburgh Steelers in need of a quarterback for the future. So excited to talk to you guys today.
Yeah, I mean,
Excited.
listen, you hit a perfect transition because obviously we're going to talk East-West Shrine Bowl a little bit. It's really like the opening act before the NFL draft. I feel like each year we all get so excited for it to watch these prospects finally kind of enter that next phase of their career and lives. So I'm sure it's exciting for you to see that and help that. How much pride do you get in elevating these kids to the next level?
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I've been in this job now. It's my fourth Shrine Bowl that just finished up, and I joke that I have 130 clients every year as if I'm an agent. I mean, these are my guys, and I've shared tears with guys and happiness and dealt with their frustrations and helping guys transition my first year. Some guys that are transitioning outside of playing football and helping them as well too. So I love that part of the job. It's something I'll miss whenever I do move on from this, and something I appreciate very much every day that I have relationships with guys from, Brock Purdy my first year to Aiden O'Connell to Malik Washington at Miami Dolphins and so many guys in between too. And now we've got guys like this year that I've gotten close with, whether it's Shedeur Sanders or Kyle McCord, who could be top level players, or guys that might be fighting for a late part of the draft. It's certainly a joy to have these guys, to be a small part of their journey and hopefully help them along the way.
Well, let's hit on them both. I'm sure anytime somebody has asked you about either, Shadeur's the first name that comes up, but Kyle McCord was excellent in that game. We were able to see a lot of them, unfortunately, as Pitt fans. He had his worst game of the season at Acrisure State last year in Pittsburgh, so maybe didn't leave the best taste in our mouth in that game. But tell us a little bit about Kyle, the player and the person.
Yeah, I'm not sure the Steelers will have a chance to get Shedeur Sanders. I think he'll be gone well before they pick in the first round. But Kyle McCord's going to be in play for, I think, a lot of teams. And, certainly the Pittsburgh game is tough. And I think one of the benefits for Kyle, I've talked to a lot of people in the NFL and around the NFL about this idea of kind of what allows guys to have success from the college to the NFL level. And a lot of it is how and when they deal with adversity, and major adversity at that, right? And whether it's guys like Pat Mahomes who deal with adversity maybe earlier on in their life, or Brock Purdy, who had his worst year in college, maybe as a senior at Iowa State and overcame that, or guys like Kyle McCord who have the bigger picture adversity, which is, being basically forced to transfer from Ohio State despite playing pretty darn well. And then again, the Pittsburgh game and having 5 interceptions in that game. I think he's overcome a lot of that. And we get a chance to talk to Kyle, and NFL teams certainly have at the Shrine Bowl, at the Combine, and around his pro day. You kind of get the sense that he's so level-headed and so steady and so confident and calm. Whether it's you want to challenge him in a scheme question, you're not going to stump him. You want to ask him what happened at Ohio State, it's not going to be a problem. And he makes everything to kind of be really organic in the sense of what he's learned, what he's grown from. And he feels like such a person off the field that you would trust right away, but also know the best yet to come for Kyle McCord as well, too. So, Cam Ward, Sanders will be the first two quarterbacks taken off the board. I think after that, you talk to a bunch of NFL teams, that QB3 is way more wide than people think. You see the media, it feels a lot like it's, Jackson Dart. He's a darn good player as well. But Tyler Shuck, Kyle McCord, Quinn Ewers, Jalen Milroe, all those guys end up being quarterback free for some teams. And I'm biased. I think McCord's the answer. But I think I'm not alone in that process as NFL teams evaluate it. The Pittsburgh Steelers certainly have a lot of interest in Kyle as well.
Interesting. I think our fan base, viewers, listeners will be excited to hear that. No question. Let's talk about some other positions. Another position of need for the Steelers, corner. It's been that way for quite some time. They haven't been able to really figure out the solution. Next to Joey Porter Jr., obviously, who's was a second-round pick a couple years back and looks really good. I want to talk to you about a couple players from the game who left impressions on you. And the first name that pops into my head is Kobe Bryant, the lanky corner from, is it Kansas or Kansas State? Kansas. Yeah, tell us about him a little bit.
Yeah, probably one of the top one or two trash talkers I've seen at the Shrine Bowl in my 4 years. I'm confident and able to back it up in practice all week long was super impressive, right? Sometimes you want to talk trash and you get beat. You got to kind of shut up a little bit. And thankfully, Kobe never really had to all week. He was one of the most dominant corners I've seen at all-star game practices in the last couple of years. And he won't be fit for everybody. He's a little bit slighter. He's not a super burner athlete either, but he's going to be a plug-and-play outside or nickel corner in the NFL. And I don't think he lasts past the second, third, fourth round at absolute worst because he's just a gamer. He's had a great college career. He's had ball production. He's played outside. He's played inside. He's an aggressive tackler. He's been successful his whole career. So I think NFL teams see the value there too. But I think he'll be a guy that don't be surprised if teams say, hey, you know what? Second, third round, this guy can start for us tomorrow. It's going to be the personnel that we want as well too. So he and Noel Williams at Cal and Zay Frazier at UTSA, probably the three guys I think are going to be that mid to early day two picks. It could be a fit for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Man, I'm picturing training camp over here and the trash talk go on between George Pickens and Kobe Bryant then would be must TV. Man, fly on the wall. Would love to hear all of that. That would certainly be fun. All right, my last guy before I kick it over to Jordan. Tell us a little bit about Elijah Roberts. This is a kid, obviously, that has a ton of talent. I know he's super versatile in the defensive front. What kind of impression did he leave on you?
Yeah, I think for Elijah Roberts, sometimes you can look at kind of a player's measurables and production and kind of guess who they may be as a player, and it's always when they match up. And for Elijah Roberts, long, athletic, can play outside. He's played a couple of snap counts at DN, some D tackle, had a ton of pressures in college. I think he was one of the country leaders as DN in terms of pressures generated. And you're saying, all right, this guy must be a decent athlete who's a really high motor guy, and the motor exceeds expectations on film. And all week long at the Shrine Bowl, this guy is a relentless pass rusher, can work inside, can work outside. When he gets bottled up a little bit, he can counter back outside. He can work through contact. He's not a liability in the run game. I think he's a bull in the china shop kind of player for NFL teams. And a lot of defenses can recognize, hey, we'll always prefer the Shamar Stewart kind of guys and the freak athletes in the end who could do a whole bunch of things. But if you're not that kind of athlete, we want a guy who could be disruptive. And Elijah Roberts has done that. Throughout his country at SMU, was great all week long at the Shrine Bowl week. And again, he's a slam dunk draft pick. I think it'll depend on the scheme because he can play some 5-tech, some 6-eye, and move around a little bit there too. And for the Pittsburgh Steelers who value that, I think he's a great kind of second, third down disruptor, bull in the china shop guy that can play a long time in the NFL.
Love that.
What is the process like for you guys picking the coaches for these games?
Yeah, our coaching staffs are made up entirely of current NFL coaches who are not in the playoffs. So we work with the NFL league office closely, and NFL teams obviously may submit, hey, we're going to keep our coaches away, or this guy's going on vacation, whatever else. But for the large part, NFL teams will say, hey, these are the coaches available to coach in an all-star game, and we'll work with the NFL league office to find those coaches who are rising, who need opportunities, who deserve opportunities. A lot of our guys that are OCs and DCs are first-time play callers to show NFL teams they can do. Work with a lot of the initiatives the NFL league office has, not just in coaching, but in video and operations and all those roles as well too. But it's awesome. I got a chance to get to know a lot of the coaches the last couple of years. Some I've stayed friends with for a long time. Some I can recommend to NFL teams saying, hey, this guy has made the right stuff. And we've had some really great coaches the last couple of years. And I think this Shrine Bowl class of 2025 East-West Shrine Bowl, probably had the most coaches on our staff that I see getting promotions very quickly in the NFL in the future too. So I think in the 2028 NFL regular season, there'll be at least one head coach and probably 3 or 4 coordinators from this year's Shrine Bowl class alone too. So it's a great privilege for the Shrine Bowl to work with the NFL League office and Troy Vincent, Roman Oben, and his team to be able to do that.
It's great stuff. Who are some players, I guess you could say sleepers, that we should be talking about more, just that come first to mind when you think that aren't getting maybe as much love?
Yeah, I don't know the term sleeper. I probably should check the media a little more often who's not getting enough buzz to, but I know some guys that jump out to me as far as high character and high talent that if I was an NFL team tomorrow, I would take these guys probably earlier than maybe you should based off their ability because of the character as well. Chris Paul, he goes by at Ole Miss, linebacker, will be a linebacker in the NFL for a decade, high character, athletic. I know some people say he might be a 3rd, 4th round pick. That's BS in my opinion. That guy should be a day 1, day 2 pick in the NFL. Jordan Phillips, D tackle at Miami. He just turned 21 years old. Yet you talk to him. Wow. He won our Pat Tillman Award this year at the Shrine Bowl, which is a player that exemplifies service and character on and off the field. That's a 21-year-old person who spoke as well as you'd expect to win that kind of award and that kind of impressive nature. And a D tackle of that is always impressive. CJ West, Indiana, a guy that's risen up because of his testing, but he should be a day 1, day 2 pick in my opinion as well. And then the guys at the top, guys like Kenneth Grant, Shadur Sanders, Javon Ravel, are 3 guys I fully expect to be first-round draft picks, are all super high-character guys. And on Shadur, I know he's not a sleeper to answer your question, but I think he certainly has been through a lot this draft cycle unfairly, and I'm excited to have him kind of have a great resolution this draft process and be a top 3 pick in the draft.
Yeah. Before I throw it back over to Mike for a couple more questions, undrafted free agents, diamond in the rough, just kind of talk about, what's your message to these undrafted free agents? We see it time and time again. You have guys, I think James Harrison, former Steelers, all you need is a chance and to prove yourself. Just kind of what is your message to these guys specifically?
Yeah, thankfully for the Shrine Bowl, the last 4 years I've been here, we've had an increased number of draft picks every year. So fewer and fewer guys that are looking for a spot afterwards. But I always joke that, hey, if Brock Purdy goes a pick later, he's an undrafted superstar, right? And the draft was kind of that joke being that he was Mr. Irrelevant, right? 1 pick later is undrafted. But that's kind of the idea is that, he doesn't get drafted 7th or last pick in the draft and he's undrafted. He has the same NFL career anyways. And I think for a lot of these guys, the draft was a fun checkbox to be like, oh my God, I got drafted. This is incredible. But for a lot of guys, we've had every year since I've been at the Shrine Bowl last 4 years, we've had at least 15 undrafted free agents make a roster, at least 40 or 50 make a practice squad or a roster, and at least 3 of those guys start in the first couple weeks of the season. So it doesn't really matter where you get drafted for these guys. It matters the opportunity that's there as well too. And I always tell these guys that, the goal of the draft process is to get better, not so you get drafted early, but so that when you get to rookie minicamp, you're ready to go and impress. And I tell the story to guys all the time. I got a call from someone of the Chiefs 3 years ago, a week after the draft during rookie minicamp, and they said, this Isaiah Pacheco guy might start for us this year. They knew within a week and a half in camp. And the day after that, hand to God, Brock Purdy, get a call from the Niners being like, this guy's going to play in the league for a long time. And they know pretty early on, whether you're a 1st-round pick, a 7th-round pick, or a UDFA, you show up to rookie minicamp, and a lot of the guys can say that. And you guys have probably been to training camp with the Steelers as well, too. The guys that pop out, 1st-round pick, 7th-round pick, undrafted guys, you kind of forget that when they get to the door. And that's really true for a lot of NFL clubs.
Yeah. Eric, is there anybody off the top of your head that jumps out that you still talk to or, you worked with a little bit that is a Pittsburgh Steeler or was a Pittsburgh Steeler?
Mason McCormick is probably one of the guys I got really close with as well. So he jumps out as a guy that I was super proud of because he, I basically told him we were inviting him July before his senior year at South Dakota State. I think I was pretty early on him. And we made him one of our first invites. And I believed in him a lot. And I think he knows that. And we kept in touch all the time too. And to the point where we're ball busting back and forth and cheering him on too. And I've kind of let him do his thing his rookie year, but I'm sure we'll catch up here pretty soon. But Mason jumps out as a guy that I'm incredibly proud of because I think he kind of got typecast as a small school guard at South Dakota State. And that's a good program, but can he make it? And I think he was an underrated athlete and an incredibly smart and motivated guy too. And he crushed the combine, crushed the Shrine Bowl, has crushed the draft process. And then obviously had a great year with the Steelers, even as a FCS player, ended up being a 4th-round pick too. So he jumps out as a guy that I'm super proud of and thankfully stay in touch with quite a bit still too.
Eric, around this time last year, Steelers take Mason McCormick. Fans, of course, across social media, people in our ears, a guard. What are we doing? We have multiple starters. We need, there are multiple needs at other positions. Fast forward to today, and I think everybody regrets, every little comment that they made after that pick. But listen, we absolutely sitting down with you and spending some time. This is
Thank you.
so cool. Unique insight for sure on a lot of these players we've kept an eye on for a while, and we'll continue to keep an eye on, and maybe we'll have more of these players wearing black and gold relatively soon.
I think we will, man. I think we'll have at least maybe one or two of the guys I mentioned on this call will be Pittsburgh Steelers too. Maybe we'll hop on after that and talk more about them. But I appreciate the time, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Keep it up.
How about that, Jordan? Kyle McCord, Syracuse, started at Ohio State, really struggled as a Buckeye, and then as Eric said, faced a lot of adversity, had to transfer, and then I think broke the ACC record for most yards in a single season at the Qs. So interesting for him to say the Steelers had interest, because we saw them wine and dine, Quinn Ewers, Jalen Milroe. So these mid-round quarterbacks, Tyler Shuck, they are, seemingly going to take a quarterback at some point in this draft, whether they get Aaron Rodgers or not, it appears, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just think you got to take a shot at one of these guys. I think that the coolest thing just from this whole episode was I always just like, guys who are part of the process and behind the scenes, just to kind of break it down. And that's just such a cool job. And obviously, like I said, that bowl is great. It's great for football and great for these kids. It's just good all around stuff. It really is. It's great.
Yeah, no question about it. We're happy to be able to do this for you. It's going to be draft coverage, 90% of the way from here on out, I would imagine, until that Aaron Rodgers ball drops. And of course, he's going to halt our plans.
Wait, they didn't sign him already? No. I don't know, man. It was like the paparazzis were on South Water Street, and shout out our guy Jerry Dulac of the Post-Gazette. He broke the news, and I don't know, man. Like we said it on previous podcasts. Listen, I'm going to cheer for whoever is behind center for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Aaron Rodgers is not my first choice, but hey, if that's who they want, I hope that it works out. If I'm being honest, I think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to work out. That's just my 2 cents. So.
All right, everybody, we appreciate you spending some time with us today. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And as Jordan said, tell a friend to tell a friend. Go ahead, Sammy.
Tell your aunt.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Steelers Crazy on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.